led by Chairman Butch Ramirez and its commissioners, and Games and Amusement Board led by Chairman Bahamitra and its commissioners. Commissioner lang kasi nasa Davao daw yung isa. I also acknowledge the presence of Senators Amy Marcos and Senator Nancy Binay. Thank you for joining us. May we now request the committee secretary to read into the record the presence of our resource persons here. ComSec, kindly acknowledge the resource persons.
Nakamute po sila.
Nakamute kayo, ComSec? Hindi yata na, no? ComSec, you are on mute.
Sorry sir, sorry po.
Pakiulit. Sure.
Yes, sir, sorry po, naka-mute po. Sorry po. For the proposed 2021 budgets of the Games and Amusement Board and the Philippine Sports Commission, we have the following resource persons. For the Games and Amusement Board, we have Chairman Abraham Khalil Mitra. We have Commissioner Eduard Trinidad and Mr. Romel Gutierrez, Supervising Executive Officer. For the Philippine Sports Commission, we have Chairman William Ramirez, Commissioner Ramon S. Fernandez, Commissioner Charles Raymond A. Maxey, Commissioner Celia H. Kiram, Attorney Guillermo B. Iroy Jr., Executive Director, Ms. Reina Preciosa Evangelista, Acting Deputy Executive Director for Bureau on Coordinating Secretariat and Support Services, Mr. Mark Edward Velasco, Senior Executive Assistant. We have Mr. Lauro O. Domingo, Chief Program Research and Development Division. We have Ms. Violeta R. Tuason, Chief Budget Division. And Mr. Eric Jean Mayores, Acting Chief Accountant. We also have representatives for the Philippine Southeast Asian Games Organizing Committee or PISGOC. We have Mr. Ramon Susara, the Chief Operating Officer, Attorney Jari Osias, Director of Legal, and Attorney Carlos Soriano, Director of Admin and Finance. The DBM will also send their representatives. We will have Director Mary Ann Z. de la Vega, Assistant Director Jane V. Abelia, Ms. Belinda A. Pinoy, and Mr. Fernando S. Dayao Jr. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, ComSec. We are here for the briefing of the budgets of Philippine Sports Commission, PSC, and the Games and Amusement Board, the GAB. Before we begin with the presentations, let me first express my full support to the PSC and the GAB. I congratulate the PSC together with all the organizers for the successful hosting of the 30th Southeast Asian Games last year, which concluded with the Team Philippines being the overall champion. Our players were in high morale because of evident government support. Nakaka-proud po, nakakataba ng puso yung nangyari nung nakarang taon towards the end of the year. Yung ating success po sa Southeast Asian Games kung saan tayo ang nanalo at nag-top. As chairman of the Committee on Sports, the budgets for the PSC and GAB are some of my priorities. As I have said time and again, I support your budgets as long as the people's money is put to good use, wisely spent, and used solely for the intended purpose. Napaka-importante po ng sports in fostering unity. We saw that last year when we won as one in the SEA Games, we won as one. sports has the unique capability of developing in our youth a sense of camaraderie and responsibility. Hindi man prioridad ang sports activities sa ngayon, priority pa rin natin ang ating mga atleta at kapakanan nila. Dapat matanggap nila ang allowances nila on time, lalo na ngayong pandemya. At parati ko po itong sinusubaybayan tuwing nababalitaan po ako na nagkakaroon po ng delays sa kanilang mga natatanggap na allowances and what is due to them. Ay handa po kung bukas po ang aking opisina para tumulong at mag-follow up po kagad para sa ating mga atleta. Huwag natin silang pabayaan. Halos lahat po ng sports activities na naapektuhan po ng COVID-19 pandemic. Likewise, the sectors being supervised by the Games and Amusement Board are also experiencing the adverse impacts of the crisis. GAB's operations were also severely affected. I asked both the PSC and GAB to consider first and foremost, health and safety protocols in deciding the resumption of some sports activities. Mag-coordinate po kayo sa DOH at IATF. And in fact, ako po mismo ay nilalapitan rin po ng mga iba't ibang association. Halimbawa, ng Philippine Basketball Association, PBA. Nagpatulong po sila na makapag-resume na po ng kanilang paglalaro. Masaya po ako at pumasa po sa health protocols ng pinapatupad ng IATF. Makakaumpisa na po ang itong PBA sa Clark ngayong October 11, tinatawag na PBA bubble, patterned after dun sa NBA bubble na nag-successful po ngayon. Nasa finals na po sila. And hopefully, magiging successful rin po itong PBA not only sa pag-resumption of games, but yung entertainment po na maibibigay po nito sa ating mga kababayan, lalo-lalo na po sa panahon ng pandemya, na wala pong ibang libangan ng ating mga kababayan. Kung hindi, manood ng TV, hindi naman sila makapunta po mismo. Alam kong miss na nila yung live na paglalaro ng PBA. Hindi lang po PBA at iba't ibang sports activities na ating hilig at nakagawian na po bilang isang Pilipino. So magtulungan lang po natin. Pero unahin po natin yung safety ng bawat Pilipino, safety ng bawat atleta. As an advocate for sports, I have supported various programs and initiatives for the advancement of Philippine sports. Last June, the President signed into law one of my priority bills, which seeks to establish a National Academy of Sports. I am grateful to my colleagues for their support for the measure. Investing in sports will not only help us in keeping our youth away from illegal drugs and other harmful vices, but it will also enable us to develop world-class athletes who can bring pride, honor, and medals to our country. Ito pong National Academy of Sports ay pwede na pong makapag-aral at the same time po makapag-training ang isang estudyante. Hindi po masasakripisyo ang pag-aaral, hindi po masasakripisyo ang pagtitraining. Dahil pwede na po gawin ito at the same time. Usually po before, pag nag-aaral, sasakripisyo yung training. Pag nagtitraining, nasasakripisyo po ang pag-aaral. Ngayon, pwede na pong isabay at wala pong masasayang na panahon sa ating mga atleta. We need a strong sports development program that is implemented by likewise strong Philippine Sports Commission. We need a strong regulation of professional sports to combat and prevent the existence of illegal gambling connected with sports and amusement games. To be able to do this, the PSC and the GAB must have the budgetary means to pursue programs and activities that would help our athletes. I am calling on both PSC and GAB to follow through with their goals and objectives. To start off, we will hear the budget presentations of PSC and GAB, and then our questions will follow after the presentation. to have an early or orderly discussion, we will allow questions from my fellow senators by order of log in here in WebEx. For everyone's information, we have the following order. First is Senator Amy Marcos, followed by Senator Nancy Binay. Let us hear first the presentation of PSC, Chairman Butch Ramirez.
Good morning, Senator Bongo, uh, Senator Amy Marcos, and Senator Nancy Binay, to my fellow board of commissioners, and to the chairman of GOB and its commissioner, magandang umaga po. I would like to request my executive director, Attorney Guillermo Roy, to present the budget for the Philippine Sports Commission for 2021. Roy?
Comsec, may I request for screen sharing, please?
Automatic na po yan, sir. Pwede na kayo mag-share.
Okay, good morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning, senators. And for the presentation of our fiscal year budget 2021 as endorsed by DBM for the Philippine Sports Commission. Next slide. The DBM endorsed budget for the Philippine Sports Commission is a total of 207,994,000, composing of the PS for personal services of 74 million, the MOOE or the maintenance and other operating expenses 103.410 million, and the prospective special account in the general fund is taken from the horse racing, which is 29,826,000. So the total of which is 207,994,000 with zero capital outlay. Next slide, please. Due to some urgent activity for next year, the Commission would like to appeal for the reconsideration of certain budgets which was not taken by the DBM. Next slide, please. Major events for next year's. This is the most important event next year, which is the Tokyo Olympics. And then we have also included here in the Sports Hall of Fame. The Sports Hall of Fame is a 20-year-old law which was implemented only 3 times, and according to the provision that it must be every 2 years. So we have the 3 batches of Hall of Fame enshrinement. So we are lag behind, sir. So the Hall of Fame budget is just 5,304,000. Then the preparation for the 2021 Olympic Games next year in Japan, that is 150 million. This includes the preparation for the qualifying event of the NSAs. Then we have the 2021 Southeast Asian Games in Vietnam, 100 million. There are 36 sports to be played, Your Honor, but the Philippines, I think, appealing 5 sports, so it becomes 21 sports. We have 2021 ASEAN Para Games of 30 million. The ASEAN Para Games is always held every after the SEA Games, so they are also part of the equation, Your Honor, in our proposal. And the Indigenous Peoples Games, Your Honor, we have also submitted this because this is one of the most important of the program of the Commission, because the IP Games, pursuant to Magna Carta of Indigenous People, we would like us to implement programs that would involve them in sports activity, considering right now that there are so much issues about IP indigenous people, particularly the children. And the most important is the National Sports Summit for next year. This is to align all the program of the uh, National Olympic Committee or the POC together with the NSAs to map out the plan for the sports of the country. And the Philippine National Games and the Batang Pinoy, 20 million. This is a yearly program of the Commission, which is a very important, Your Honor, because the pool of the national athletes is coming from the Philippine National Games, while for the Olympic Youth Games or ASEAN Youth Games or the Youth Games is coming from Batang Pinoy. This is where the spawning ground of our future national athletes. We have also the Pilipinas Para Games. The Pilipinas Para Games is our program in support of the Magna Carta for disabled person also. And this is one of the program that is in support also of the Philippine Paralympics Committee. And then for the international competition next year, aside from the Olympic Games, SEA Games, is the Tokyo Paralympic Games, Your Honor. Right now, we have two qualified Para Games athletes, Ernie Gawilan from Davao and Josephine Medina from NCR. And also, we have third ASEAN Youth Games. This is also next year. The sixth ASEAN Indoor Martial Art Games, the IMAG. This is also next year, Your Honor. And the sixth ASEAN Beach Games. So the total of projects for the major one next year, Your Honor, is 339,250,000. We have for the item 2, this is 179,097,000. We also included as part of the accounts payable for the infrastructure project, Your Honor. This item was because of during the COVID, the funds allocated for
Erlin, katong
our
mga
project
ano,
has been taken by the Bureau of Treasury, which is
PM
almost 596 million. And also because of the necessity during the last year's SEA Games, we extended financial assistance to PISGO, used for the broadcast, and also in addition to the POC's requirement of the sports equipment, that's almost 500 million. So in effect, Your Honor, we are appealing to the Honorable Senate Subcommittee on Finance the amount of 1,639,054 69,054,228 pesos. So this is not part of the budget that was in the net, Your Honor. So this is the appeal of the commission that the said amount will be included in the budget of PSA next year if the Senate would grant this request, Your Honor.
Attorney Eroy, meron lang po akong tanong. Anong update na po sa Tokyo Olympics as of now? Meron na bang definite or medyo fluid pa yung plano nila sa pagpatuloy nitong Tokyo Olympics? Ang pagkaalam ko, postponed siya by a year, no?
Yes, Your Honor. The same date for 2021, Your Honor, the Tokyo 2021 Olympics. In one of the press statement of the new Prime Minister of Tokyo, that definitely they would push through the Olympics because they already spent so much billions of money, and the people of Tokyo would like also that the event to continue as part of their rehabilitation program against COVID-19, Your Honor. So they are now in the full implementation that the Tokyo 2021 will post, Your Honor.
Okay, mamaya na lang ako magtatanong ng iba pa. Thank you. We shall now hear the presentation of GAB. Please proceed, Chairman Baham Mitra.
Thank you very much, Chairman Senator Bongo, Senator Nancy Binay, and Senator Amy Marcos, and to the PSC family, good morning. We'd like to ask our Deputy Admin Officer Romel to kindly please present the budget. Please go ahead, Romel. Mel?
Sir, yeah. Okay. Good morning, Senator Bongo and other honorable senators present in this budget hearing today. We will present the budget of the Games and Amusements Board for FY 2021 as recommended by the DBM. Okay. Skip mo na sa budget. Okay, this is the salient features of our budget for FY 2021. The DBM recommended a total of 140,598,000. So it comprised of personal services worth 83,061,000, and our maintenance and other operating expenses amounting to 57,062,000. This include our 9.5 million share from the 3% special account, 475,000 for our IT system, with the total recommended level of 140,598,000. So our PS requirements positions, then anniversary bonus, hazard pay, loyalty of 20 qualified personnel, and terminal leave benefits for 6 compulsory retirees. Okay. And this is our ICT budget for 2021. Then we have a special account in the general fund for 9.5 million. So this 9.5 million is included in the 57,062,000. We get this from the 3% share from our from TV rights and gate receipts from our sports pursuant to Presidential Decree number 871. So, okay, this is our income from 3% share on TV rights in from 2017 to 2020 as of June 30. So as you can see, we have no income for gate receipts, TV rights due to the cancellation of sports activities due to COVID-19 pandemic. As to the accomplishments or highlights, okay. Last year we have the first Philippine Professional Sports Summit. It was attended by by all stakeholders from various sports under the regulatory powers of authority of the Games and Amusements Board. These are some of the photos, and then okay. Okay, so we have a hero's welcome for WBO World Bantamweight Champion, John Riel Casimiro. Okay. And Luisito Espinosa. And then, okay, this year we launched the GAB Kamustahan. Started in June to inform our stakeholders of the present situation. And then this is the in Davao with Senator Bongo. We distributed the DSW, the assistance to our professional boxers. Okay, then we also assisted the track betting station operators in the drafting of specific health and safety protocols governing operations of OPBs. And then this year, we also accredited or recognized the National Basketball League and Women's National Basketball League. They are now professional. The Women's National Basketball League is the first women's league, professional women's league in the Philippines. And then we have the Chooks to Go Pilipinas 3-on-3, also turns professional. And then the chess league. We also have the professional chess league in the Philippines, the first professional league in the Philippines. And then we have the continuous dialogue with the IITF in order to assist PBA, Chooks to Go, NBL, and PFL to set up their bubble type sports. And then we also have provided technical assistance to the TWG for collegiate leagues under CHED upon instructions of the IATF. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you from yung hindi yata nagpaalam yung ginamit yung apelido ko. Bakit nandyan sa Chooks to Go? Hindi yata ko hindi nyo ba naitanong yan? Huwag nyo isama yung apelido ko dyan sa mga programa nila. We shall now go on our questions. Let me repeat the order of questioning. First is Senator Amy Marcos. Ma'am Amy, do you have any questions? Ma'am Amy, nakamute yata. Ma'am Amy, di pa yata ready. Si Ma'am Nancy. Senator Nancy.
Pwede na, Chair?
Opo, hindi. Go ahead, Senator Nancy.
Thank you, Sir Bongo, and magandang hapon po sa pamilya ng GAB tsaka ng PSC. Siguro, Mr. Chair, simulan ho natin dun sa GAB. Magkano ho yung lost revenue for 2020?
Romel, pakitingin. Gandang hapon po, Your Honors, Senator Nancy. We will look into the records. But ma'am, as we all know, GAB's revenues comes from TV share, and of course yung nanonood sa Araneta Coliseum and sa MOA. Pero sa ngayon po, alam naman natin, since the start of pandemic, wala pong sporting events, and kung magre-resume man October 11 yata sa Clark, wala rin pong audience. So Sir Romel, I'm not too sure, I don't have the figures. Ilan pong nawala?
And then siguro, Chair Mika, meron din ba kayong parang pag-aaral, assuming na tuloy-tuloy itong problema natin sa COVID, magkano yung projection nyo for next year? I guess siguro for next year, baka wala rin kayong masyadong kikitain pa.
Ma'am, actually, Hindi naman talaga kami on the revenue generation except that we want to follow the lead of the IATF, making sure that the resumption of sports will be safe, no? But as for the revenue, I think that the professional leagues are also thinking of revenue enhancement measures in terms of TV and live streaming. So baka sakali po yung 3% na share ng gobyerno collected by GAB but remitted directly to the Bureau of Treasury, baka po doon manggaling sa TV rights nila. Sir Romel, actually maliit lang yung amount, ma'am, but in terms of percent nawala. Almost 10% lang na nakolekta last year ang nakokolekta sa ngayon, ma'am. Kasi January, February pa lang po yung operation ng time na. Tsaka yung PBA, 1 game pa lang po sila. Sir Romel.
Meron ho ba kayo kung ilan yung displaced na ano natin from the different sports?
Ma'am, halos
kayo, yung mga basketball players.
Opo, halos lahat po displaced kasi wala pa po nagre-resume. PBA will resume October 11, boxing will resume in Cebu October 7. So lahat po sila displaced, no play, no pay. Diba? Yung iba, no work, no play. Yes, Your Honor.
Mga ilan ho yung apektado? Kasi feeling ko, next to the tourism industry, mukhang malaki din yung epekto sa inyo ng COVID-19 in terms of employment. I mean, not just the players, pati syempre yung mga support staff doon, kasama din doon sa displaced workers.
Yes, ma'am. Yung boksingero po, there are about 1,300 licensed boxers. And then, of course, there are trainers, diba? There are coaches, diba? And then, yung support staff. Yung sa basketball, hindi naman po aabot ng 1,000. Yung sa ibang licensees po natin, like yung mga gaffers po, nung sa cockfighting industry, 16,000 po yung hindi po nakakapagtrabaho sa ngayon. And then yung 1,300 na yung kasama na rin po, ma'am, yung mga mixed martial arts licensees natin. Fighters po yon. So more or less mga 2,500 siguro, pati na rin yung coaches, trainers, and yung seconds.
And meron ho ba kayong tie-up with either DOLE or DSWD para makakuha sila ng ayuda, whether in the form of SAP or dun sa programa ng DOLE?
Opo, we were ang board po with Commissioner Edrindad and Commissioner Mar and of course yung staff thought about writing the DOLE. Kasi nga po no work, no pay, no play, no pay. Naitulak po kami sa sa DSWD and meron po silang konting pondo from the central office yata na nabiyayaan. And ang balita po namin ng ating chairman at ang ating Senator Bongo ay nagbigay din po ng AICS funds niya. Kaya po nakabigay po sa Davao, Cotabato, Jensan at saka sa CDO. Medyo kalahati pa lang po yung nabibigyan. Baka po mabigyan din kami ng biyaya ni Senator Nancy para mabigyan po yung kalahati na ibang mga boksingero.
Nako, parang wala ata akong ganong pondo. Pwede ba makikihingi na lang ako kay Sen Bongo ng pondo?
Sa DSWD po.
Parang si Senator Bongo lang may gano'n na narinig ko yan.
Wala, pare-pareho lang tayo. Pero basta ano yung makakatulong sa ating mga atleta, magtulungan po tayo. Isa lang tayo rito.
Sen Bong, baka pwede tayo makahirit for ano naman, Luzon and Visayas. Parang yung mga nabanggit lang ay puros Mindanao.
Opo, makikiusap po tayo sa executive. Of course, through the request of Senator Binay and Senator Amy Marcos. Hanap po tayo ng paraan. Ma'am Amy, makinig ka naman.
Ay, nakikinig na nga ako eh. Kasi exciting dun sa kabila, Tulfo versus Aguirre.
Oo, parati. Kanina nagsalita na ako doon. Sabi ko na, eto, hindi ako nagbibiro. Yung pinag-awayan nilang pastillas, antayin mo lang, darating ang panahon na yung palaman ng pastillas na sinasabi nila, yung pera, papakain talaga sa kanila yan. At saka sa totoo lang, nakakita talaga ako may pinakain na pera si boss. Ang hirap palang nguyain ng pera, no? Hindi nila manguya-nguya. Hanggang kahit na isang oras mong nguyain, hindi mo malunok manguya-nguya pala yung
Iba
Eh, paano yan? Lalong marami. Kung milyon-milyon, lalong hindi mo malulunok.
kahit na 2 piraso, hindi mo manguya yan. May, yung ano niya, yung
Ay, may ganun-ganun.
papel mismo, hindi
Oo.
nakita ko dahil merong mga nangungutong, kinakain talaga ni boss dyan sa Malacanang. Nguyain mo hanggang sige nguya siya ng nguya. Naubos na lang yung 4 na kape, hindi pa rin niya manguya.
Lusaw.
Dahil hindi natutunaw, hindi nalulusaw yung pera. So sabi ko, antayin nyo lang. Sigurado ako, may makakakain talaga dyan ng pera. Pastillas, pera ang laman.
Okay, Chair. Siguro, para makatanong na rin si Sen Aimee, for the PSC, how much was the total amount given to Fisco for the SEA Games? Chair Ramirez, nakamute po.
Attorney Roy, can you give the budgetary requirement that we extended to FISGO and a little explanation for the good Senator Binay? Please, thank you.
FISGO on the GAA under 2019 is 5 billion GAA, and there was an additional funds of another 1 billion from the Office of the President to make it 6 billion. And the PEC likewise extended an amount to FISGO that is almost 800 million. So I think, ma'am, more or less the budget for FISGO is around a little less than almost 7 billion, ma'am.
Yung first 5 billion ho, para saan ho siya, Attorney Elroy?
Yung 5 billion, ma'am, sa GA 2019, kasama na po siya sa overall, ma'am. Actually, the original budget proposed at that time was 7.55 billion because the expenses estimated by the organizing committee because of the 54 or 56 ports that was lined up, so it will reach 7.5 billion. But what was approved is only around 5 billion. So that's why we requested a 1 billion additional budget from the Office of the President. But still, because of the impact of the SEA Games, ma'am, wherein the participants together with the guests surpass the number as expected. So it's that reason that the PEC likewise extended an amount over and above sa general funds intended for the SEA Games.
Yan ho yung 800 million.
Almost 800 million.
Saan ho ginamit yung 800 million?
Sports equipment, ma'am, number one. And then for the international broadcast also, which was used, if you recall, ma'am, the opening of SEA Games and the live coverage was well pleased by the public. So that is one of the big ticket during the expenses, ma'am, the expenses of PSC, the
And then-
international broadcast. Yes, ma'am.
Hindi ba kayo nagka-income from ticket sales? Ano ba yung mga source of income nun? Ticket sales?
The PISGOC, ma'am, was the one in charge of the tickets sales, but that will be submitted in their audited financial statements soon. But insofar as the income is concerned, ma'am, what the PEC received, but also part of the payment for the expenses, which is up to now, in fact, we have 387 million expenses outstanding. We received from the accommodation subsidy. This is coming from the delegation remitted to the PEC. So it's around 163 or 164 million, ma'am, plus the income of the broadcast was 32 million. So a total of 194 or 95 million, more or less. But this was also used for the payment of the expenses during SEA Games, ma'am.
So wala na ho kayong accounts receivable from Fisgo?
Wala na po, ma'am. Wala na po, ma'am. In fact, we requested sa DBM an additional of 387 million for the remaining payables from the different suppliers during the SEA Games, ma'am.
So may utang pa kayo na 387 million.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So yung 387 million, you will remit this to PhilGoc para mabayaran.
Yes, ma'am. In fact, there are too many demand letters that we received. In fact, some senators already also received demand letters from the suppliers. So we expect that this 387 man will soon be released by the DBM.
Naku, parang Attorney Ellen, mukhang mahirap po ata. Parang naubos na po for COVID. Di ba?
Gusto niya po.
Parang
We hope the DBM would
sa DBM for
nasa COVID na, ma'am.
and nabanggit niyo kanina na si PhilGoc will submit their audited financial report.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Right now, ma'am, in coordination with the PhilGoc, it is now under audit by a third-party auditing firm, which is the Pricewaterhouse and Cooper. So one of the best auditing firm in the country. It will be finished, I think, end of the month or first week of November, ma'am. So they promise to submit that also. And then they will also submit that to the Philippine Olympic Committee. It is one also the contentious issue right now.
Pero hindi ba subjected yan to COA audit?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All the expenses related to SEA Games, ma'am, our COA is also doing and post audit. Right now, ma'am, the PhilGoc submitted the liquidation almost 70% to 79%. So with this, ma'am, our COA also is doing a post audit. So it is mandatory for us to submit it to COA also.
Okay. Siguro, Chair Ramirez, can we get a copy? Can you submit to the committee a copy of the audited reports?
Yes, ma'am. We will do that, ma'am.
Yun naman ho ata, I think, di ba may deadline who's supposed to be na October 10 yan?
That was the POC deadline, ma'am, in their letter to the PhilGoc. But we received an information that it will be extended because we also requested that, ma'am, to also PhilGoc because the Commission on Audit also requested a copy of the audited financial statement.
Okay, yun na lang po, Chair.
Thank you.
Na lang natin yung kopya.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
We
you,
will
ma'am.
submit also to the Office of the Senate, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you.
Chair.
Attorney Geroy, kasi isang beses po nandyan somewhere in Cavite, may binisita akong mga nasunugan. May naghabol sa akin na mga operator ng van. Yung mga van na ginamit nyo po nung SEA Games. So, bayad na ho ba ito? At wala na ba kayong dapat pang bayaran sa kanila? Dahil maliliit po ito na negosyo na konting kita lang to na naghahanap buhay po. Ayaw nating sila naman po ang papasan ng yung hindi pagbayad sa kanila.
Yes, sir. In fact, in the contract of transportation, sir, the original contract was already paid because PhilGoc requested an additional because of the numbers increase, and there was also a short of the request during the original contract. So that is one of the payables. Maybe Senator Bong line up for payment under the 387 million, sir.
Permission of the Chair.
Go ahead, Senator Nancy.
Paano na lang kasi nabanggit mo yung utang. Sino ho bang may utang? PSC or PhilGoc?
PhilGoc, ma'am, but because it is a guarantee of the government during that hosting, so that is part of the request of PhilGoc to PEC, which we endorsed to DBM for possible funding of the remaining payables, ma'am.
So what happens if DBM will not release funds. So,
Right now, yes,
sino
ma'am.
ngayon ang
That's
pagpapasok? PhilGov o PSC?
this contract was entered into by PSGOC, ma'am. But definitely the PEC will be included in case the POC being the part of the organizing committee. But we are optimistic that the amount remaining to be released by DBA, ma'am, for these payables.
Siguro can you submit na rin to the committee kung ano yung breakdown ng 387 million na payable?
Yes, ma'am. We have already documents. We will send it right away, ma'am.
And siguro pati na rin yung JV na in-enter nyo with PSGOC and PSC.
The memorandum of the tripartite agreement, ma'am, you
So,
said?
di ba, usually ngayon, pag may guarantee of the government, dapat dumadaan yan sa NEDA or another agency for approval.
I think this one, ma'am, was directly handled by in fact, the Congress approved the budget for the hosting of the SEA Games. Because at that time, ma'am, the requirement of the SEA Games Federation Council before the country can host the event is there must be an approval from the Office of the President. So that was the reason why in 2017, after the closing of the SEA Games in Malaysia, at that time, Kong Piping was the president of the POC, which was turned over to our DFA secretary, din now Speaker Speaker Alan Cayetano. So that was the start of the engagement of the government of the Republic of the Philippines, ma'am. And in effect, in fact,
Sorry, problema is yung yung parang pamahalaan yung nagkautang bigla when in fact it was PhilGov who was kumbaga sila yung nag-enter into a contract pero ang magbabayad ng utang nila is taxpayers money pa din, di ba? So siguro kayo pasabit na lang sa committee para matingnan at mapag-aralan yung JV contract entered into. Yan lang
Yes,
po.
ma'am.
Thank you.
At Roy or Chairman Ramirez, meron kayong budget of 6 billion nung nasa GAA, no? Of
Yes, sir.
2019,
sir.
2019. At bakit po lumampas kayo sa budget na allocation of 6 billion at meron pang utang? Bakit kayo lumampas doon sa inyong target na dapat gastusin? At nakakalungkot naman, saya-saya natin nung SEA Games after the opening at pagkatapos nagsara tayo, napakasaya, very proud tayo sa ating achievements, pero may ilan pong mga Pilipino na nalulungkot nga po, gaya na po isa na humahabol sa akin, nagda-drive lang po ng van at sabi niya hindi siya nabayaran. Sabi niya, sir, tulungan mo naman kami, naghanap buhay lang kami at hindi pa kami nabayaran. Bakit po ganun? And then, ilang months na po, nasa October na tayo, matatapos na lang yung mag-iisang taon na since the hosting of Southeast Asian Games. Tapos, hindi pa rin po sila nababayaran. Kawawa naman yung mga maliliit na naghahanap buhay lang.
Actually, sir, the estimate budget of the organizing committee was really 7.5 for the hosting. It so happened that the proposal was reduced to 5 billion, and luckily, the Office of the President released another 1 billion. That's 6 billion, sir. So we below of the 7.5. This is the reason why the PEC also extended an additional of an amount to be used for the operations of the SEA Games that is more or less umaabot na po ng almost 800 million, sir. So that is the reason why meron pang remaining, sir, because the actual budget talaga as forecasted by the organizing committee was 7.5 billion. So that's because of the program that they have prepared for that hosting, Your Honor, Mr. Senator Bong.
Salamat po. At paghandaan niyo lang, maaaring may tanong rin yan sa inyo sa plenary, no?
Yes, sir.
Ako mismo bilang inyong chairman, Hindi ko po matanggap na yung mga maliliit na negosyante pa hindi na babayaran at napakabongga po ng ating napakagarbo ng ating hosting. Pagkatapos naman ay hindi nababayaran yung ibang mga maliliit na negosyante po. Hindi po katanggap-tanggap sa akin mismo yan. Ganong, and even the president, ayaw ng ganon. Ayaw niya even sa mga proyekto na nakatiwang-wang, ayaw niya. Same same issue po ito na ganda-ganda ng ating hosting and then mag-iiwan naman po ng mga babayarin na hindi pa na-settle. Lalo-lalo na po apektado dito yung mga maliliit na naghahanap buhay lang po.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pwede na po akong magtanong. Sorry, kanina.
Go ahead, Senator Jaime.
Thank you. I share the discomfort of Senator Go regarding the payables. And while we're speaking of that, may I inquire, Chair Butch, dito sa ating PSC, isa kayo sa iilan lamang na government agencies nagkaroon ng adverse opinion galing sa COA noong 2018. At hanggang ngayon, yung 2019, sabi ng COA, hindi pa raw nila magawa-gawa. Sa kabila ng mga kautangan dito sa mga maliliit na may-ari ng van at kung sino-sino pa, alam ko may mga hotel, may mga maliliit na dorms na hindi bayad, ang sabi dito, napakarami daw na honoraria na pinamigay ng PSC sa mga official, personnel, employees that were not actually properly liquidated. All that was produced for affidavits. Naayos na ba ito at yung adverse opinion, na-reverse na ba ng COA yan?
Tony Roy, kindly answer the
Ma'am,
question.
with respect to that honorarium, ma'am, it was refunded by the employees of the PSC. It was already settled before COA, and for this year, after exit conference with the Commission on Audit, we were given a qualified opinion this time.
Siguro, pwede ninyong isubmit yan sa amin para hindi na itanong yan at mapapahirapan lang ang ating Vice Chair Go kapag itatanong pa yan kasi tumataginting yung adverse opinion sa PSC. I know, Chair Butch, that the Rizal Memorial Coliseum was used as an isolation facility. Is that the case until now? How does this affect the athletes who are actually housed there?
During the with the request of the national government to help the pandemic, the board of the PEC decided to convert the three facilities of the Philippine Sports Commission, the Rizal Memorial, the Phil Sports Gym, at saka yung Ninoy Aquino Gym sa Rizal. Yung tatlo pong ito, purposely to augment the needs of the medical quarantine areas. So we have observed a protocol that once we will allow our athletes, once it is approved by the IATF, we are ready to, with the help of DOH, to disinfect and to make the areas prepared for the training, Senator Marcos.
Yes, there were some athletes still living in Rizal, di ba?
No more.
Nobody was living there. Hanggang ngayon, may naka-quarantine pa rin sa inyo?
Senator, when the lockdown was declared, we immediately advised our 1,006 athletes to go home.
I see.
So yeah, except for some who were stranded, but we were able to facilitate.
So right now, you're on full quarantine?
Hindi po, may mga iilan lang.
Okay.
Sa tatlong facilities, there were times na umabot siya ng 100. Ngayon, some facilities, 30, 40, 50, because this was targeted by DOH for mild symptomatic areas.
I see.
There are doctors assigned, for example, the Phil Sports in Pasig is assigned to the PNP medicals. The result is assigned to the Army. So all of these are being used, and it's the DOH Armed Forces Management together with the DPWH and PSC. We're working collectively to be a part of the Bayanihan Act solution, ma'am.
Um, I I have to ask you this. Are there any updates on the payroll scam of the allowances of the national team athletes? Paano ba
Yes, ma'am.
nangyari yan? Did you have a closure investigative report on that?
Yes, ma'am. First, when it occurred, this payroll fraud, we immediately went to the NBI for an investigation.
I see.
Step two, DOJ took over for the arraignment of these identified employees. Then from there, we went to to Solgen to possibly recover the properties if they are available. Then we are working closely with KUA, and we have a complete report of this, ma'am, together
If
with
you
the
could just
land.
if you could just give us a briefer para alam namin sagutin
Yes,
if
ma'am.
ever at makatulong rin sa vice chair natin.
Yes, ma'am.
Were there NSAs involved?
No, at the moment, ma'am, the investigation is on a 95% no? Finished. It was just participated by 3 employees of the PEC.
Okay. So 3 employees. Okay. All right. And then I understand that some sums were remitted by PAGCOR in 2019. What are these amounts? How did they use them? And until today, for the year 2020, nag-remit na ba yung PAGCOR? And what is your projection for their use? Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Uh, for the past years, we were able to receive a regular of 130, 140, 150 million a month. From December to 19 to January to 20 to February, we were receiving a regular of 150 million. Then starting March, it went down to 99 million. Then on April, it went down to 9 million. Then May was 7. Then June was 11. That's why it affects the remittance of our elite athletes instead of our athletes receiving 100% of their allowance. Ang ginawa po namin, Senator, ginawa naming kalahati pero equity hanggang December. So na makakaabot yung perang savings namin galing PAGCOR, which we call it NSDF. Yun po
Do
ang
you have any
situation.
news? Do you have any news of the Bayanihan too? There's a portion there dedicated to the athletes' pay.
Yes, ma'am. Kasama po doon 180 million, ma'am, para maibigay doon sa mga atleta na nakuha ng allowance, ma'am.
Pero hindi pa ninyo natatanggap yun? Wala
Hindi pa po. We are talking with DBM kung kailan marirelease, ma'am.
I see. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very much, Chair. And yun na, hihingin ko na lang yung
Yes, ma'am.
Saka, yung sa GAB naman, you're one of the few agencies na hindi binawasan for bayanihan. Despite the fact na yung ating mga sports events ay na-postpone. So, I would like to know kung paano nangyari yon at ano ngayon ang sitwasyon ng GAB budget. Hindi kayo binawasan ng bayanihan. Di ba buo yung bigay? Tama ba yung pagkaintindi namin? Yun ang report sa amin
Sir, meron.
Actually, Ma'am Senator Amy,
Yes, binawasan rin ba kayo?
binawasan po kami
6 please, wala bawas.
6.5 million, ma'am, yung binawas sa amin.
So binawasan rin pala. Considering that so many of the games like boxing, wrestling, basketball all suspended due to COVID, ano na ang disbursement ninyo for this year, for 2020? Marami pa kayong pera sa madaling sabi. Marami pa.
Actually, Senator, 46 million lang po yung aming disbursement as of June 30 disbursement.
So 46 million as of June. Yun na nga
Yes,
kasi Okay, so anong plano ninyo sa budget ninyo as a result?
Your Honors, Mr.
Yes,
Chairman,
please
Madam.
proceed. Yes, my good friend. Yes, Baham.
Hi, ma'am. Ma'am, meron na pong boxing resumption. It's going to happen this weekend in Cebu. And then
Yes,
next
that's
week
right.
po,
You already mentioned that earlier, October 11. I was
opo,
listening.
medyo may mga activities na po gustong na mangyayari. So magagamit na rin po yung budget. But gusto
Hindi
sana
kasi
namin,
ayaw natin magbalik ng budget after December 31. Sayang naman eh, isosoli mo pa.
opo, we kung papayagan kami ng DBM, we intend to do a sports summit na virtual, parang ganito.
Oo, that's
Doon po
right.
sana namin ililipat para mapakita namin yung magagandang ginawa ng professional leagues na parang magaya sa non-professional leagues, and yung safety gusto namin i-highlight na you can do sports na safe sports,
Okay.
professional.
Just in terms of output and performance, Baham, if you will, how many licenses to professional sports practitioners were you able to issue this year? Kasi nga this year is so dismal.
Ma'am, as you know, medyo nagkaroon ng pandemic, but ang deadline kasi namin ng as you know, Filipinos, pagka malapit na yung deadline, saka sila
Oh, ratsyada. Siyempre, magrarally yan.
Oo nga ma'am, tama-tama, March, biglang nagkaroon ng lockdown. So when everybody was about to get their license, biglang nagkaroon ng wala tayong magagawa but to extend and extend and extend. We moved it 3 times. First, we moved it to June, and then to August, and then now to October. So, medyo hirap kami mag-report sa inyo na ilan lang po ang naka-license sa amin kasi hindi sila makapunta sa GAB. Tapos, hindi naman po
Okay.
pwedeng
Wala ba kayong
virtual lang.
online para matapos na? Hindi ba pwedeng i-effect online yung mga yan? Kasi di ba, proponent rin ang ating Vice Chair, si Senator Go, ng e-governance. Baka naman pwedeng i-online yung mga application na ganyan.
Gusto sana namin, ma'am, pero meron kasing requirement ng drug test eh. Of course, we are in support of the administration sa anti-drug program, so we would not
But if
want to
it's
let go of
certified,
that.
pero kung siguro naman certified na hospital o clinic, pwede na rin, ano? Ibigay na lang yung verified drug test result.
Opo, we will.
Wala, I think it's a consideration kasi marami akong naririnig na yung mga lisensya nga daw hindi na-process at all this year.
Opo, kasi ma'am, sila rin ma'am ang inaalalayan namin ay walang sasakyan papunta sa GAB. At saka, sige ma'am, we will adapt to the new normal. We will try to process online.
Yeah, to the extent that you can. Kasi kami, miski yung mga passport and so on, kung pwede naman i-pre-qualify, simplahan na lang natin. Yung drug test, kung certified naman yung hospital, siguro naman kaya na rin. I was going to ask rin, ilan yung investigation that have been undertaken? Kasi nga, isa pang trabaho ninyo yan, I'm sure na alintala rin sa COVID.
Investigation on?
Yung mga violations of rules and regulations, kasi nasa mandate rin ninyo, di ba? Yung
Yes,
mga
ma'am.
nag-violate, yung mga worst violations, yung mga nakikita natin sa dyaryo noon.
Opo. Ma'am, meron pong natanggalan ng lisensya at saka na bar. Yung, I don't want to mention any names, no, but ito po yung isang football team and manager. And napabalita at nakareceive po kami ng maraming emails at reklamo about them not paying their players. So they are now barred from getting any more license. And as of now po ma'am, we are processing the request of Mr. Calvin Abueva who has been penalized and revoked yung license niya doon sa PBA, ma'am, sa PBA, Philippine Basketball Association.
Right. Ano nangyari sa kanya? Ano yung status niya?
We are now processing, ma'am, parang 3 days seminar on anger management, conduct of a professional athlete, and then meron pa pong gender sensitivity seminar. So after 3 days, we will now, and of course yung drug test, virtually, yung drug test doon na ma'am sa Clark, and pagka okay na po yun, pwede na pong i-lift yung revocation ng license niya.
So,
Okay.
Chairman Mitra, ibig sabihin na restore na yung
Hindi pa.
hindi
Di pa
pa.
po.
So anong
May
proseso
kagabi
pa ang dapat gawin kay Calvin Abueva?
Kagabi po, meron pong isang session on yung seminar on what it is to be a professional, code of conduct of a professional player. Parang nire-remind lang po siya na pag professional ka, kailangan ganito ka, kailangan maayos ang isip mo, kailangan huwag kang nananakit, kailangan responsable ka, and people look up to you. And meron pa pong anger management at saka meron pa pong gender sensitivity. Alam ko gusto ni Senator Amy to.
Pakisabi lang po kay Chairman Mitra. Alam ko pong ako naman ayaw nating ipagkait sa isang player, no, singhusay ni Calvin Abueva. Attract po ito ng mga fans ng PBA dahil sa sobrang husay niya. Bata pa yan, tinitingala ko na po yan dahil napakalakas tumalon at magaling talaga na atleta. Paalala lang po sa kanya kung pwedeng maglaro siya at talagang laro, no? Wag yung intention to hurt, wag yung intention to provoke, yung pinipikon niya yung mga ibang players para masira yung paglalaro ng ibang mga atleta. Yun lang po, before you consider na ma-restore yung kanyang license, may balik sa kanya, ay pakipaalala lang po sa kanya na tayo'y maglaro ng basketball at sports lang. Walang sakitan dito sa wag siyang mamikon at sisirain lang niya yung laro nung ibang kalaban. Yun po ang napapansin ko noon. At pangalawa, and of course, no, pinopromote natin yung larong basketball para mapalayo sa droga yung mga atleta. Stay away from vices, stay away from drugs. Dito tayo sa sports. Pakiusap, iparating mo yan sa kanya.
Opo.
Kasi kung hindi, baka sabihin ko kay Pangulong Duterte, mag-import ng mga GDS sa Davao para disiplinahin.
Paalalanan.
Tawa si Commissioner Fernandez. Eto, idol ko to si Commissioner Fernandez. Huwag naman yung sakitan na Kong Fernandez. Isa yan sa tinitingala nating player, napaka-usay. At kung sa tingin nyo naman po na nagbagong buhay na po siya at kanyang mangangako po siya na talagang maglalaro to entertain the Filipinos, ay susuportahan ko po ang na maibalik sa kanya yung kanyang license. Salamat po.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Itatanong ko si Calvin Nagpapabagets tayo pero actually panahon ako ni Mon Fernandez. Pero naman, mabuti naman na nakikita natin itong mga nangyayari. Kaso kalaban namin si Mon pero
si Ma'am.
O nga pala, Crispa si Mama Amy.
Spicy Senator.
Dapat miski si Billy Ray Bates naging alaga. Talaga naman ang hindi So, eto nga, maraming salamat. Natutuwa naman ako na kahit COVID, may nagagawa pa rin kahit paano yung GAB. And I hope that you can continue with your good work with Baham there and Chair Butch. We look forward to greater successes in the sports field. That will be all, Mr. Vice Chair, Senator Go, and I endorse the budgets of both the PSC and the GAB to the plenary. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am.
Thank you, Senator Amy.
Wala na. To PSC, bibilisan ko lang po, no? Tanghali ng how many sports are we expecting to qualify and who are the athletes how many sports and athletes are to be in the Olympics. Kumusta po ang inyong preparasyon for the qualified athletes to the Olympics? And then, does the IATF already approved training of national athletes at this time? How do we ensure we follow health and safety protocols, and how are we funding the preparations and training right now? How much has been spent for the allowances and training? And then, of course, Miss Hidalyn Diaz is our silver medalist in the last Olympics. And in fact, isa po ito sa aking tinulungan through umana po ako ng private sponsor, no, dun sa mga kakulangan niya para po talagang suportahan siya para dun sa ating matagal na nating minimithing gold medal sa Olympics. Kumusta po ang kanyang preparasyon dito? And lastly, ito namang si Yumir Marshall already turned professional. How are his preparations right now? Is the PSC continuing its support despite him turning professional?
First, there are at the moment there are 4 athletes who have already qualified to the Olympics. Si AJ Obiena, who is now in Italy, si Yulo, who is in Tokyo, and of course the 2 boxers, si Marshall and the other girl. So these are the 2, but si Hidalyn Diaz naman is just one qualifying. She'll be one of the qualified. There are more or less 14 sports, Senator Bong, that are vying for the Olympics, and more or less, aside from these identified athletes who are already qualified, there are more or less 20 to 30 athletes who are fighting it out to qualify. And number 2, the preparations of this Olympic bubbles training had been discussed by Dijao together with Chairman Metra, and had been endorsed to IATF. And anytime once the IATF will approve, we will give a green light to the NSAs who are part of the bubble training. And the bubble training, we have agreed that it will be under the National Sports Association shepherding. No? Then, in the case of Marshall, we continue to support his allowances in spite of his going to the professional, because there are other professional athletes while they are playing for their profession. The PSC continue to support like the billiards and other athletes, no? So kasama po 'yan. And the budget, in spite of not receiving the regular budget emanating from PAGCOR, we have some little savings that we continue to support this Olympic bound athletes, Senator. Tuloy-tuloy po ito. That's why if we are able to get support from both houses on our request sa Olympics and other requirement, it will become material for our request. I could remember, Senator Bong, na when pandemic occurred, there was almost there was 500 from GAA and another 700 from INDISLIP that were withdrawn for the pandemic. I would like to. I also reminded that the president during our awarding in Malacanang have committed 100 million for these Olympic-bound athletes. So itong sinabit namin ngayon dito na nawala sa 2019 budget because nawala yung 900 budget na ginawa doon. This request is really vital for our preparation for not only for Olympics but for for almost 6 to 7 major sports next year, Mr. Senator. So the PSC are on top of it, but we cannot do that without the collective cooperation of the National Sports Associations and the Philippine Olympic Committee. So madalas po kaming nag-usap-usap how to proceed in our preparation. And who knows that it can be a magical occurrences if we can get not only silver, bronze in Olympics. Yulu and Hidilyn Diaz might surprise us. No? And there are other athletes who are vying for their qualification. It's exciting that in today's Olympic search, we will have not only 10, maybe 20, maybe more athletes going to Olympics, Senator.
Salamat, Chairman Butch. Nung nakaraang buwan po ay may mga natanggap tayong mga reklamo tungkol sa delayed na pagbibigay ng mga allowances sa ating mga atleta and coaches. Ano po ang status nito at nabigyan na ba sila ng allowance on time? Ilan po ba sa kanila entitled to allowances? Were all of them given allowances despite the reduction in the remittances of PAGCOR to the National Sports Development Fund? Is the 180 million in the Bayanihan to recover as well, the Bayanihan 2, enough to cover all their allowances? We are in the middle of the pandemic and everyone is having difficulty. Our athletes and coaches who bring honor to our country are no exemption po dito.
Okay. First, Senator, that 180 million is sufficient to answer the needs of the athletes. Number two, when there was a delay of remittances of the allowances of athletes, it was because the PSC embedded an internal audit to check the payroll scam. But after that, 2 months have passed. We are able to renew the remittances of athletes. We were correcting, we made some corrective actions on the mishaps of payroll scam, Mr. Senator. So tuloy-tuloy na po yun. Once na makuha, i-remit yung 180 sa PC galing sa DBM, magiging regular po yung kanilang allowances na marireceive sa mga atleta, Senator. At saka lastly, Mr. Senator, these are facts, no? That the president, he was never absent in any palarong pambansa during his time. And it's only the president that the athletes are much welcome at the Malacanang. He never missed that opportunity. And this is aside from our support to the 2019 Southeast Asian Game on 2018, starting 2018 to 2019, the PEC for the first time have spent more than 1.5 billion to the training of these athletes, equipments, and other requirements. It is one reason that the success of SEA Games was really felt by the country. And we hope that in spite of the pandemic, itong Olympics na forthcoming at saka Southeast Asian Games, we will be able to maintain the threshold of success of our athletes. And yun nga lang, hindi naman natin kontrolado. Any agency, small or big, we have to cooperate to the national government to give in our money for the pandemic problem. That's why we are now proposing to the good senator, to the House of Rep, that we will able to recover this budget because these were embedded in our preparation for 2021. Thank you, Senator Bong.
Mr. Chairman.
Anyway, yung Chairman Butch, sandali, Chairman
Yes, ma'am.
Mika, about dun sa yung nakaraang Southeast Asian Games, isa po ako sa nagrekomenda sa ating Pangulo na bigyan sila ng additional incentives, no? Yung mga nanalo sa gold, silver at saka sa bronze medalist ng ating mga atleta. And rest assured, patuloy po akong susuporta sa kanila sa abot po ng aking makakaya. Patuloy ninyo maging tulay sa Pangulo. And aside from that, itong sa budget ninyo sa yung hindi pa na-release sa DBM, I will try my very best, no. Makonbinse si Sec Abisado na mahanapan po ng paraan at mabayaran po yung dapat mabayaran. I will try my very best po tungkol dyan. Siguraduhin nyo lang po na mabayaran yung pinaka maliliit talaga. unahin niyo yung mga naghahanap buhay lahat kumikita po ng kukonti para lang mabuhay. Lalo-lalo na po ito sa krisis. Ito, hirap talaga yung mga kababayan natin. Anyway, Chairman Mitra. Nakamute ka, Chairman Mitra.
Thank you very much, Your Honors, Mr. Chairman. We're very grateful for your support. Minsan lang po parang, hindi naman sa naiinggit po. Medyo nalulula hearing. Ang Games and Amusements Board po sa tulong ninyo ay merong 140 million. And we're trying to make do with what we have. And kung may maidagdag po sanang maitutulong sa amin, we would appreciate it. However, we're very happy na nandiyan po kayo, tumutulong kayo, nakakadagdag po kayo dun sa ibang mga ginagawa namin. And syempre yung guidance ninyo. Just a short comment po on Eunice, yung kay Marshall who has turned pro. Hindi pa po siya nagpo-pro, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman. Hinihintay nga po ilang beses na nagpa-schedule sa GAB. Siguro po ang problema niya kasi pag nag-pro siya, mawawala na po automatically yung allowances niya mula sa Philippine Sports Commission. Kasi po professional na, hindi na dapat may allowance galing sa gobyerno. So ano lang po, medyo we need to be a little careful on that kasi allowed na po ang professionals lumaban sa Olympics, but he has expressed his intent to turn pro. Mawawala na po siya sa PSC, nasa GAP na po siyang pangangalaga, pero nandun pa rin siya sa national pool. Konting ano lang po, we welcome him in the professional ranks. He will be fighting against professionals, pero siyempre, hindi po kaagad 12 rounds. So 6, 8, 10, and then saka pa po magto-12. So siyempre, iniingatan natin. But we are in support of his preparation and hopefully our first gold in the Olympics. Full support din po kami dyan. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Maraming salamat, Chairman Mitra. Ako rin po ay magsisikap po ako na ano pang pwedeng masuporta at madagdag po sa inyong mga budgets, both sa GAB at saka sa ating PSC. Anyway, another issue. Ito pong sa National Academy of Sports. So what is the estimated budget for the construction of the National Academy of Sports? Ano po ang timeline natin sa construction? I understand this would be under the DepEd and the BCDA budget, and BCDA will construct. However, PSC must coordinate with the DepEd and BCDA regarding specifications in the construction and operation. Isa batas na po natin, at importante maisama po ito sa 2021 budget para masimula na po agad ito at makinabang po ang ating mga kabataan. Matatapos, ayaw po ni Pangulong Duterte na merong mga nakabinbin po ng mga proyekto na hindi pa po matatapos sa kanyang termino.
Thank you, Senator Bong. I would like to make a report briefly on the NAS. We have the board with Secretary Brunis, myself, and Chairman Popoy and Congressman Bumble have nominated already the first executive director of NAS and its two deputies to start navigating selections of the execom to start working. Number two, the Secretariat have submitted to the House of 1.8 million, 1,800 million for the NAS. The less than, more than 1 billion is appropriated to the facilities. DepEd and BCD has to work together for that facilities areas. For other requirement, it is DepEd. PSC will just lead. So far, the board of trustees of NAS have met twice, and the Execom under the new executive director will start working this week. And we plan, thirdly, we plan that on the middle of next year, Senator, the president will inaugurate the National Academy of Sports with a minimum perhaps of 50 or more students coming from Visayas, Mindanao, North and South Luzon, and NCR, because the ICSICOM have started working already. So during the time of President Duterte, ma-inaugurate po niya yung National Academy of Sports. Ang maiiwan lang, yun lang Philippine Sports Training Center na hahabulin po namin itong taon na ito so that pakahabol din po yung PSTC bago matapos yung 2022. Thank you.
Salamat, Chairman Butch Ramirez. Are there any more questions? With no more other senators wishing to ask questions, the budget of Philippine Sports Commission and Games and Amusement Board are hereby approved on the committee level and are deemed submitted to plenary, taking into consideration the discussions today. Thank you to our resource persons and senators who join us today. This hearing is hereby suspended.
Thank you very
Salamat
much.
sa inyo. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your
Salamat.
all-out support.
Senator Jaime, Senator Binay.
Thank